If you grew up here in Mexico or even spent a little time here, you probably remember him. A smiling white bear in a chef's hat greeting you from a loaf of bread or a lunchbox snack. That bear isn't just a mascot, he is the face of Bimbo, the largest baking company in the world, a Mexican legend turned into a global empire. Today, Bimbo reaches 76 countries, employs over 152,000 people worldwide, and generates more than $22 billion in annual sales. You'll find that little bear everywhere, on soft white bread, chocolate-covered gansito bars, or Takis that went viral across continents. But behind that gentle smile lies a story of tragedy, ingenuity, and one family's belief that even bread could change a nation. It all began in 1928 when Juan Servitje, a Catalan immigrant, opened a small bakery in Mexico City called El Molino. Business was steady until tragedy struck. In 1936, Juan died suddenly, leaving his teenage son Lorenzo in charge. Lorenzo was still an accounting student at UNAM, but he dropped everything to drop the bakery and start chasing a dream: to make bread that was fresh, clean, and never disappointing. So together with his uncle Jaime Sendra, Lorenzo started baking their own bread from scratch, inspired by trade magazines like Baker's Helper and the pure determination of family business. So after thinking it, investigating, and coming with solutions, on December 2nd, 1945, Panificación Bimbo USA opened its doors. 5 partners, 34 employees, and just 4 products: small and large white loaves, rye bread, and toast. The secret weapon: cellophane packaging. At a time when wax paper hid flaws and actually provoked mold, Bimbo's clear wrapping let customers see their bread. A small act that built massive trust. And the name Bimbo came almost by accident, inspired by Disney's Bambi and the song Bingo. Later, they learned that Bimbo means kid in Italian and sounds like mian bao, bread in Mandarin. Pure serendipity for a brand destined to travel the world. Soon they learned that the company needed a face. So Anita Mata, that was the spouse of one of the business partners of Grupo Bimbo, adapted a Christmas card illustration, adding a chef's hat and an apron, and just like that, the Osito Bimbo was born. So from black and white thrift to full-color optimism, the bear evolved with the times, but his expression never really changed. Clean, kind, and reliable. He became Mexico's most trusted face. By 1949, Bimbo's famous Truck 38 hit the streets of Mexico City, equipped with a phonograph and loudspeakers. It didn't just deliver bread, it performed. Music, jingles, and the smell of fresh loaves followed it everywhere. By 1955, Bimbo had 1,700 employees and 140 custom trucks, serving both the city and the countryside. One of the most advanced logistics networks in Latin America. And then came Marinela. In 1954, Bimbo launched a pastry division, and in 1957, it gave Mexico its most beloved treat, the gansito, a chocolate-covered snack cake with jam, cream, and a duck mascot shouting, "Recuérdame, remember me." The slogan hit home. Soon, gansito wasn't just a snack, it was affection in edible form. By the 1970s, Marinela was producing 1 million gansitos a day. In 1972, Bimbo opened Latin America's largest bakery in Azcapotzalco, Mexico City. So advanced, it could produce 1.5 loaves per second. It even had a company museum and a soccer field for employees. 2 years later, a Marinela plant joined the complex, cementing Bimbo as a symbol of Mexican innovation and care. The 1970s were an explosion of creativity. Bimbo launched Tia Rosa, Swandy, acquired Ricolino, and created Barcel, home of the now legendary Takis and for all the legendary chips. By the decade's end, Bimbo had 3 companies, 12 plants, and 15,000 employees in Mexico. And right after they have already conquered the Mexican market, the real international expansion began. And the milestone came in 2010 when Bimbo bought Sara Bakery in North America for $959 million. Overnight, a Mexican company owned 41 bakeries, 4,800 delivery routes, and 13,000 employees in the US. With that, Bimbo had become the largest baking company in America, a Mexican brand leading the global market. In the meantime, Takis, Barcel's fiery rolled tortilla chips, became an international phenomenon. From Mexico City to Los Angeles to London, Gen Z couldn't get enough of their intense flavor and viral crunch. And once again, Bimbo proved that Mexican innovation could outspice the world. When the COVID-19 pandemic hit, Bimbo adapted fast. During lessons from its operations in China, it implemented strict protocols and kept employees safe. As families stayed home, bread sales soared. For example, they went up 40% in Peru and Colombia. The humble sandwich became a symbol of comfort. And then came Mexico's 2020 labeling law, banning mascots like the Osito and sugary foods. So instead of fighting back, Bimbo reformulated recipes, redesigned packaging, and focused on healthier, transparent products. Today, Bimbo is a sustainability leader. It's committed to net zero emissions by 2050, already sources 92% of its electricity from renewables, and has a fleet of 4,200 electric delivery trucks, the largest in Latin America. 94% of its packaging is recyclable, biodegradable, or compostable. Across 4 countries, 170,000 hectares of wheat and corn are now farmed regeneratively, a greener way to bake for the future. In 2024, Bimbo surpassed Coca-Cola in household penetration across Mexico, which is pretty much 98%. This is the first food brand ever to do so. Studies call it the brand closest to Mexicans because Bimbo doesn't just sell food. It sells trust, familiarity, and care. From pan dulce in the morning to gancitos after school, Bimbo is there, quietly weaving itself into the daily fabric of millions of lives. 8 decades after its founding, Osito Bimbo still smiles the same gentle smile. He represents a promise kept, that with care, vision, and heart, even a loaf of bread can connect the world. So next time you spread butter on a Bimbo roll, or grab a gansito after a long day, or you eat a whole bowl of Takis, remember, you're not just tasting a snack, you're tasting a story. A revolution that began in a small Mexico City bakery and rose to feed the world. And remember that if you want to learn the full detailed story of Grupo Bimbo in Mexico and the world, read the article at the MNT site.